Good morning, everyone. Happy Earth Day. I'm so happy to be here in Lynn with all of you to celebrate Earth Day and Earth Week. And today we're celebrating a really momentous accomplishment, the conversion of the majority of municipally owned streetlights in the Commonwealth to LED. And this is one of those projects I was thinking about on my way over here. Sometimes when we think about climate change and we think about, how can we really make a difference, it can feel overwhelming. But it's projects like this, working with 77 communities across the Commonwealth, working with the planners, the DPW directors, the inspectional service folks, to actually go out and change thousands of streetlights across the Commonwealth, swapping out inefficient bulbs for efficient bulbs, that gives us a win-win situation. We've saved communities money, we're saving greenhouse gases, and this is how we go about solving climate change, step by step in partnership together. So I'm Rebecca Davis. I'm the Deputy Director of MAPC, the Regional Planning Agency for Metropolitan Boston. And it has really been our pleasure to partner with the Baker administration and with cities like the community of Lynn on this project. 3 years of hard work, and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Kara Goodman, who's been the one that's been corralling those 77 communities. It's not always easy, but it's rewarding. And Cami Peterson, who's the director of our clean energy team, to stand here today 3 years later with all of those streetlights converted and the savings achieved. We're going to hear from Commissioner Woodcock about some of the details of the program, and then from Mayor McGee about the effects in Lynn. So I'm so happy to be with all of you today. Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank all of you who have participated in what has culminated in a historic conversion of our municipal streetlights across the Commonwealth. I do want to do a first acknowledgement to our mayor, who has hosted this event and has been a partner with state government through a long tenure with the city. Thank you, Mayor. I also want to recognize the energy efficiency team led by Maggie McCary. When I usually introduce myself and tell that I work on energy policy, I always get questions about solar, offshore wind, electric vehicles, but it really has been energy efficiency and the hard work of Maggie's team that has really put the Massachusetts in a leadership role, not on only energy efficiency, but on climate change. It really is an honor to be here on the 51st Earth Day and highlight the completion of this LED transformation. I think on Earth Day you look at accomplishments, but you also reflect on what you want for Earth Days of the future. And this program is instructive. It's instructive that a decade ago, this technology did not even exist. Now it is ubiquitous. Now it is being deployed not only in states that are climate leaders, but across the nation and across the globe. Rebecca, you're right, it can be daunting thinking about what we need to do to accomplish the climate change mitigation to give a new generation a semblance of what we grew up with. But it's heartening to think that if we continue to deploy this type of technology and look forward to the technologies of the future and deploy it with the urgency that this crisis demands, that we can, in fact, achieve the climate future for the next generation. Since 2017, 77 communities were awarded a total of $5.5 million, benefiting a diverse cross-section of Massachusetts rural, urban communities from Pittsfield to right here in Lynn. As Massachusetts celebrates Earth Day this year, it finds itself at a pivotal moment in the effort to achieve ambitious climate goals. Just last month, I joined Governor Baker in his signing of historic climate change legislation, establishing 50% below 1990 levels as the goal for 2030 and net zero by 2050. As we shift in clean energy, we must make continued investments across the Commonwealth, not only in the communities that can afford it, but moreover, the communities that can least afford it. By making these types of investments, we can reinvest in the historic efforts of marginalized communities and reinvest in the housing and the members of all communities across the Commonwealth. Creating an innovative, resilient, and inclusive clean energy future starts with addressing these inequities that have faced communities of color, immigrants, and low-income residents for decades. While Earth Day is a celebration, it is also a reflection of the work ahead. I look forward to working on continued partnerships with organizations like MAPC, as well as communities across Massachusetts through future programs to collectively address climate change and achieve these shared climate commitments. With that, I'd like to thank again MAPC and turn it back to Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And as you mentioned, it's all about partnership. And I did want to also recognize that we have important partners in the legislature. We just passed a historic climate bill here in Massachusetts. So Senator Creighton and Representative Wong, thank you so much for joining us today and your partnership.
Representative Capano.
Oh, and Representative Capano as well. I'm sorry I didn't see you there. But your part, it's really hard to tell behind the mask who's here and who's not. But the partnership with the legislature and the historic climate legislation that was passed with the legislature and their Baker administration really has continued to put Massachusetts at the forefront of climate policy, and we'll continue to see then on the ground changes like this LED streetlight program. So next, it's my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Lynn. He's been such a partner, both in his time in the legislature and his time as mayor, and it's been such a pleasure working with him on so many projects, from climate to housing to COVID response. So Mayor McGee.
Thank you, Rebecca, and it's great to be in person with you and the team. We've been on numerous Zoom calls, more than we can count, over the last 15 months. It's been crazy, but I want to welcome you all, and it's great to be here, and it's been so great to work with MAPC. Really have enjoyed the relationship and how important it is, that relationship, for the community of Lynn, and all the work that we do and the partnerships that we build on so many issues, housing, climate. And as we're here it was 32 degrees this morning. Monday was 70. It's going to be 70 on Saturday. My first week as mayor in 2018, we had the biggest flooding in Lower West Lynn since 1978. Climate change is real, and we understand it, and it's happening. So we see it here in the community, and we know that we need to address it together. Commissioner Woodcock, thank you so much for being here this morning, and the partnership with the administration and to help make this a reality. The delegation, Brendan, Peter, and Donald. Wayne Losey's here as well, who's been on the council, has been an advocate and supporter for our Green Communities efforts. So, and I know that your support has been helpful as well, Wayne, so thank you for being here. Again, it's been really awesome to be part of this 77 communities, this partnership with MAPC, DOER, the LED Streetlight Conversion Program. Over the course of the last 2 years, the entire city of Lynn streetlights have been converted, and as Councilor Losey knows and the delegation, we had a substantial deficit as I came into the job in 2018, and working with the team, we were really looking to how could we address in many ways the challenges that we faced and do it in a way that really benefited the community moving forward. Andy Young is here, who was a big piece of those discussions, and Mike Donovan, who couldn't be here as head of inspectional services. We worked from day one talking about how could we make sure this program became a reality. I want to thank them both for their advocacy but more importantly, they worked hard to implement this program in partnership with the state and MAPC. Wouldn't have happened without their work and the team that they have to make this, make sure that all of these lights were transformed into LED lighting. These streetlights provided increased visibility and safety for residents across our entire city, but it will ultimately result in an annual cost savings of over $300,000 for the city with installations of these energy efficient bulbs. Again, this is just one of a number of infrastructure investments and projects that we've had within our city over the last several years. This area, Commissioner, and all those that are here, was recently updated through a Mass Works grant, this intersection and all of this work with the new YMCA right behind us on Neptune Boulevard. Also, which will be set to open in May, the new YMCA. Bike and bus lanes have been painted throughout our downtown on Neptune Boulevard, Lynn Common, Market Street, and Broad Street, right here. And I know the Councilor Hogan, his district, he's noticed that it's the traffic has been calmed down, the traffic flows better. It's really an improvement, but it also gives safe access points for biking as we continue to make those investments with the Northern Strand Community Path up the road. All of those investments, working with the state, have been really real positive to see what's going on in the community right now. We've got housing developments on Monroe Street, the Beacon Chevrolet site, the North Harbor site that we call it along our waterfront, as well as Blossom Street. And I want to thank the partners at the state and local level who've worked together to make these improvements a reality, and those partnerships that will continue. Actually, the work began this week or last week on Lower Washington Street, a $1.6 million Mass Works project that will transform that area. Complete Streets project will be finished this spring, and the Mass Works project that we were approved on will probably begin work next year, is reconfiguring Blossom Street, making a four-way intersection right at the end of Blossom Street, 2 blocks from here, which will have access to the waterfront and the boardwalk and developments that are happening there. So with the state, the city, MAPC, those partnerships, we're seeing really exciting things happen. And I'm just going to finish with, I want to thank Andy for giving me some of the numbers here. Of December of 2020, our bill at December of 2020, this was for FY 2020, was a year ago, $79,224. This December it was $15,950. January of last year, $79,818. Of the year before, $79,818.45. This January, $17,000. February, $71,181. This February, $13,869. March, $72,239. This March, $13,726. Total 4-month savings, $241,000. That's correct, Andy, right? City's seen over 4 months, $241,000 in savings. Not only are the lights better, they're safer, they're brighter. We're making substantial savings in the community, and we're really adding on this Earth Day to taking the steps we need to take together to address climate change and the impacts it has on this community. So for all that have been a part of this, the work that's been done, the lighting that's installed, the continuing work we'll do together, and the savings the city will see, it's a win across the board. So really happy to be here and celebrate this together. Thank you very much for all the work that everyone did to make this happen.